Retro.
Hi, this is Fred Tatasciore, and you're listening to Dennis and Jay on Podcast Stardust. The Force is strong with both of them.
Hello, and welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And we are wrapping up this holiday week with a look at some recent Star Wars news. But before we get into that, Jay, I want to remind everyone what our social media contacts are.
Absolutely, Dennis. We are on Facebook and Instagram, as always, at Podcast Stardust.
All right, the gist of the line, the fireworks have been launched, the signal's boosted, we have our sparklers, the shield is down, the barbecue's on the grill, and we are now broadcasting to the galaxy. And it is 4th of July weekend here in the United States. So happy 4th of July to all of our American listeners, and to the rest of the world, happy weekend. But again, here we are. So we are going to celebrate a little bit of the 4th of July, 250 years as a country. So that's pretty cool. So
awesome. What a great time.
Yeah, it's been fun. I don't know if you've been watching the World Cup, Jay, but one of the things I've been enjoying the most is watching all the people that have been coming over here from around the world and seeing them interact with all of our cultural institutions, like the people who've been in Texas and have gone to Buc-ee's. I think we talked about Buc-ee's in the past, or when the Scots like took over Boston and like ran the place dry. They were selling out all the beer places they were going to, and the Norwegians and everything that they've been doing.
Man.
It's just been so much fun. Following all of their adventures over here.
Truly. Yes. Erling Haaland is definitely like one of my favorite players now. And I'm not a soccer fan. Like I'm typically, okay, don't throw rotten Shura fruit at me, anyone. But it's just never really been on my radar. I've always been an American football fan and a hockey fan and, baseball fan here and there, but soccer has just never really been anything I've latched onto. And just watching some of these things has been incredible. Have you seen how TSA was confiscating the ranch dressing? So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, like all these people are like, oh my gosh, ranch dressing from the United States. So I guess Hidden Valley put out TSA compliant packets of ranch that people could take with them so that they could have their ranch when they go home to their home country. So it's the World Cup has definitely brought the world together, and it's been awesome to see.
Yeah, there's plenty of problems in the world. We're not going to get into those, here at home and abroad and whatever and like that. But it has been fun watching this worldwide cultural institution. And this, I am a bit of a soccer fan. Football and hockey are my two favorite sports. But my Saturday morning tradition, when the Premier League is in season, is I put on the games on Saturday morning, sometimes or on Sunday before football and stuff like that. And I drink my coffee, do the crossword, whatever. I know probably a dozen soccer/football players. And a lot of them are here in the World Cup, of course. Who doesn't know Messi? Who doesn't know Cristiano Ronaldo and Holland and some of those players that Kane, the captain of England, stuff like that. I know all those players. Mbappe from France. And that's fantastic. This is not a soccer podcast, but here we are talking about the United States anniversary here, 250 years, and we're talking about soccer. But it's the simplicity of the game. I feel like there's plenty of rules, but there's so much fewer rules. And I know the World Cup has been taking hydration breaks in the middle of each half, so it essentially turns the game into a 4-quarter game, which is a little bit absurd. But the game just flows without commercial breaks and stuff like that. It's so easy to watch. And it's one of those things that, like, unlike football where you have to like pay attention down to down, I can just like kind of have this on while I'm doing other stuff, and I love it for that reason. And then
it's a different experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then the thing that brings the World Cup is you see all these traditions that all these other countries bring with them. And I've been learning about countries I didn't even know exist, which for a guy who got his minor in geography when he was in college is kind of embarrassing. But at the same time, it's just like watching them react and realizing that a lot of these people from other places in the world are not so different from us.
Right.
Like people from Africa have got like haircuts that I would expect to see from people here. People
Mhm.
from South America are wearing clothes and things that I would not have expected them to wear. And look, I don't want to come off as the ignorant American, but I've been to Europe a couple times and I've done some travel. I'm not super well traveled, but I'm got a fair amount of experience in my belt. But it's just fun. It's kind of like the old World's Fair in a way, is that we're getting to see so much from around the world, and the world's getting to see so much of us. And so, anyway,
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it
It's
quite a
just
bit.
yeah, me too. And one other thing I'll just say is it's just been so refreshing because a lot of times you just hear all of the negative things. And
Mhm.
so just hearing the way that visitors that are coming into the United States are just celebrating our culture
Mhm.
is just wonderful. And I just feel like there's nothing else that has truly brought the world together other than the Olympics. And this has kind of done it. So it's, it
This
just
is
goes
more
to
fun,
show,
I think.
yeah. And it just goes to show you can't always believe, what the media shows us, that there's just goodness in the world. And that's just something to be celebrated.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Well, with our cultural moment out of the way, let's get into some Star Wars discussion here.
Awesome.
First, as we were discussing last week, we can now confirm that there was, in fact, footage from Starfighter shown at CineEurope in Barcelona last week. However, I cannot tell you anything of what was shown, and I have not found any accounts of any of this. So I'm I'm guessing it's going to be a matter of time. I feel like this is more of an industry event, so in general, people are going to be better about not whipping out their phones and recording stuff
Hmm.
that they're not allowed to. But if there's footage available, maybe with Spider-Man, maybe with some of the other big releases coming later this summer, we should get a trailer or something like that. But the fervor with The Mandalorian and Grogu is starting to die down. We're expecting it to show up on digital purchase availability and then Disney Plus. Getting announcements about that any day now, because it's kind of run its course in the theaters.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I kind of feel like should be on to the next thing, which is Starfighter at any time now.
Yeah. So you mean Ryan Gosling or Matt Smith didn't call you over the weekend to like tell you what happened?
I got a couple calls that I did not pick up because I was out of town with family and was busy. So I'll have to
Yeah.
call those back. They didn't leave messages and they didn't text. So I don't know. I don't know what that was up about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyways, I wish we could tell you more, but we're going to be keeping an eye out for that.
Okay.
We've been stalling because we've spent all day waiting for the drop of the Ninth Jedi trailer. And so
Yeah.
to pull back the curtain, it is July 2nd. This episode's coming on July 3rd. On July 1st, on StarWars.com, they put up a post with a 30-second teaser for the trailer that said the trailer for the Ninth Jedi is coming tomorrow. And it is currently just about 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and this thing has still not dropped.
Right.
And
Yeah. Cue Jeopardy music, right? Do, do,
right.
do, 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 do.
So,
Nothing.
we've been, we talked off mic quite a bit. And we were kind of hoping that while we did so a drop, we'd be refreshing our browsers every few minutes, and it still hasn't come out yet. So if it somehow miraculously shows up by the end of this discussion, then maybe we'll watch and do a live reaction to it. But so far, nothing. So it looks like more likely we are going to be discussing that on next week's news. But say la vie.
Something for everyone to look forward to. There you
Right.
go.
Okay. So we're breezing through the news really quickly. I was hoping for more with that. I was really hoping for that Ninth Jedi trailer, Jay. All right.
It's all good.
Up next in book news, we have a new book announced coming out on October 1st. This is from Dr. Chris Kimshaw. If that name sounds familiar, he previously wrote The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, which is kind of an in-universe history book. That one was told from the perspective of Beaumont Ken. And if that name is not familiar to you, that was a character in The Rise of Skywalker, played what's his face from Lord of the Rings, and Lost, who was talking about like Sith, Sith sorcery and whatever that allowed Palpatine to come back. But anyways, that aside, this new book is called Star Pilots, and it's going to be told from the perspective of Wedge Antilles and the only man to survive 2 Death Star battles. And he's going to be talking about the pilots, that he flew with, the foes he faced, and what it was like to be a pilot in the Galactic Civil War. So I got to admit, the Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire is one of my blind spots when it comes to Star Wars writing. And I heard tons of good things about it. I just haven't found time to work that into my schedule. This book is also intriguing, considering it's going to be from Wedge's perspective. But what do you think about
Yeah.
this, Jay?
No, I think it's really exciting, and like you, it's just something we never put on our podcast schedule either. So with everything that we've been doing and everything that's been coming out, it's like you said, it's just been kind of a blind spot for us with the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire. But like as you said, there's been so many great things that I've heard about that. So this is exciting, and I love Wedge's character, and
Mhm.
I think that getting the perspective of the pilots is going to be a lot of fun for sure.
You know, you said you love Wedge's character, and you saying that made me think we need a whole lot more of him.
We do.
He got featured a bit in the Star Wars aftermath trilogy that Chug Wendig wrote. But other than that, he's not been a big part of the current continuity. He was a pretty large character in Legends,
Yes, and
and
I guess that's where I'm speaking from,
yeah.
which I guess doesn't really have any bearing on what we're talking about with this book, but then again, it can. There's always a bit of truth in legends, you know?
Did you read many of those X-wing books?
I read some of them, yes. The Wraith
Mhm.
Squadron series, is that the one that
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah, mhm.
Well, that was like the last couple of books in that series.
Okay, that's
I'm
what sticks out in my mind.
So I know Aaron Alston wrote some of those books, and Michael Stackpole, I think, started the series. And the Race Squadron books, I think, were Alston's work on there.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were fun. It was kind of the whole point of the story is that it was Wedge putting together a rogue squadron for the most part, and recruiting pilots, and a lot of those pilots would branch off into other stories and do other things. A lot of great adventures. They were taking the fight to some of the Imperial warlords during the Galactic Civil War, and then after the Galactic Civil War, they had missions and things like that. Those characters would show up in the New Jedi Order, and that Rogue Squadron series would then become like the basis of things that would happen with Jaina Solo
Mhm.
and Jason Solo later in other Legends stories. So they were very foundational to Legends. That may be one of the books that we need to cover after we get done with Path of Destruction of Darth Bane. Um,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, I like that idea,
yeah.
especially
No,
ahead of this book,
what's that?
especially ahead of this upcoming book.
Yeah. So, we won't be done with Darth Bane before this book comes out, but
We can squeeze it in is what I'm meaning.
yeah, right. But those books are fun. They were, they came out, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s and the like. And, they filled a real niche for us as fans, especially if you were also played like the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games that were available for the computer at the time. It was just a nice little subset of the galaxy that was made available for Star Wars fans.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. And in Legends, was he Jagfell's uncle? Is that correct? He's somehow related to Jag, I feel like, Jagged Fell.
That's all right.
Sorry, I'm, like, putting you on the spot here,
No,
but
that's okay.
because the Antilles line is kind of a crazy one because it's no relation to, some of the other Antilles that we know. It's almost like a name like Smith, I guess you could say. So he's not related to Bale, for example.
Right, right. Yeah, we got that joke going for years and years and
Yeah.
years. That it was funny because like back in the day, the people who didn't have anything to do with what George Lucas was thinking were saying things like Skywalker was a common name, and it really wasn't. But Antilles very much was a common name in the galaxy. But yes, Wedge was the maternal uncle of Jagfell. Um,
Yay.
and of course, Jagfell ends up marrying Jaina
Jaina.
Solo. So,
Yeah. So
spoilers.
he's kind
But
of an uncle-in-law to her.
right. Yeah, but, it was I you know, it I like a lot of the books that we've got now, but and the thing is that, hmm, how to say this delicately, with Legends, there were some really great books, but there were some that were just absurdly bad in some of the things that they tried to do, or the ways that they tried to crazily expand the Force or cre and I don't want to be harsh. I'm not going to call out any particular story at the moment, but I feel like book to book, the current continuity is a little bit better. However, the Legends probably has still some of my, if I was going to rank my top 10 favorite Star Wars books, Legends has probably got an oversized amount of representation in that top 10.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I feel like there's such a spectrum in Legends, and you're so kind. Like, I was going to, like, cough and name one of the series of in Legends that was really painful, but we
Yeah,
won't
no, I mean, look,
do that.
I didn't, and I think we talked about this last week, is that last book that was supposed to feature Luke, Leia, and Han, Crucible, did not care for that. I thought that was a terrible swan song for those characters. There was the other, what was the trilogy that featured the bugs, the
The
Kilix or
Dark
whatever it was?
Nest. That was
Yeah, the
the one I was
Darkness.
going to
Oh,
talk
okay. Well, you're not ever saying like I didn't particularly care for that
Yeah,
one either.
it was a little painful.
But the Darth Bane trilogy was fantastic. Anything that James Luceno wrote was awesome. Of course, everyone knows the Thrawn books; those were all good. We were talking about the X-Wing series, the New Jedi Order. I think it was something that was an acquired taste, and that a lot of people look very fondly back at
Mhm.
now.
Well, we
But
we did Star by Star on
right,
the, podcast too. That was one of my favorites, I know.
yeah. So there's a lot of good to be had there, but I think if I was going to do a Legends reread, it wouldn't be every book. It would be,
No.
I
Oh
would definitely
gosh.
be picking and choosing and stuff. But we've talked about the Courtship of Princess Leia on this podcast. That was a
We
good one.
have. Yep. Yep.
Um, don't think we talked about the Truce at Bakura.
No.
Have you read that one?
Mm-mm, I have not. That's one that
Okay,
that I have never jumped into. I've heard a
that
lot of
was a
people talk about it though.
yeah, that was a book that I go back and forth on. I like some aspects of it, but there's others like I don't know why you went that way. But um,
Mhm.
any rate, so okay,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, we've completely strayed from the topic there, but I
But
am.
upcoming, do you have July 21st marked on your calendar for Eyes Like Stars release?
I do not. I have the following week when the book about Rey and Leia comes out marked on my
Oh,
calendar.
nice. You know
Yeah,
I'm teasing you, of course.
I know you're teasing me. We've been podcasting together a long time. Are you going to get it? Are you going to read it? What's your plan for that one?
Yeah, I am. I am gonna read it.
Okay.
So, I
Well,
might
here's the
regret it,
deal. I'll
but who knows?
strike with you. You get it, you read it, and then you tell me if you think it's something that it's worth. Okay, that's not fair to say because
I understand what you're saying.
everyone's taste is different. The description of this book does not appeal to me, but not everything needs to be written for me, and that's fine. If you read it and you like it and you think it's something that I could get through, then you let me know and we'll cover it on the show.
That's the
Otherwise,
deal.
okay.
And
But
for our
I'm just
listeners that don't know what we're talking about, The Eyes Like Stars is the new romance novel, if you will, that is coming out
YA
for Star
romance novel
Wars.
coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, not I guess similar to Lost Stars, but not in the same kind of vein. So,
It seems to be okay. I like Lost Stars, but one of the reasons why is that in addition to it being a book about a relationship, it did cover like a lot of stuff that was happening in the rebellion and the Empire during the
it
Galactic
did.
Civil War.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
the thing, in while, hmm,
I
it's so
totally
hard
put
to
you
put
on the
focus.
spot. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. I enjoy it when our conversations go places we weren't exactly. This is not in our notes at all.
No, it's not.
So here's the thing about the Eyes Like Stars is it has been billed as a teen romance book. Like there's nothing that suggests it's going to be otherwise, and that action adventure lightsabers, resistance versus first order, all that stuff is not even secondary. It's tertiary if at best. So that just doesn't appeal to me as much. And fine. I'm glad for the people looking forward to this, but again, it doesn't have to be written for me. And there's plenty of other things that I can enjoy with Star Wars, and a lot of comics I haven't read yet. A few books I haven't actually read yet, and I'll spend my time doing, enjoying those things.
And there you go. And like we always say, there's so much in the Star Wars sandbox to play with that not everything, as you said, has to be for us. And that's all right.
Right. Okay. Well, one last check here, and we still do not have a trailer for the Ninth Jedi, so that
Wah,
will be
wah,
coming up next
wah.
week. All right, well, we're going to end the show by talking about the most recent round of guest announcements for Star Wars Celebration LA 2027. We previously had announced Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Ian McDermott, of course, as the Emperor, Anthony McDaniels, who's the only person who's been in every Star Wars movie in some capacity, most notably as C-3PO, D. Bradley Baker, who's been almost every clone in animation,
Right.
from the Clone Wars to the Bad Batch, and Michelle Ang, the voice of Omega from the Bad Batch. But in addition to them, this week they announced that Ahmed Best, who you know best as Jar Jar Binks, and Kellerman Beck, Matthew Wood, the voice of General Grievous, Ashley Eckstein. I'm not sure who that is. Jack, can you tell me who Ashley is?
Ahsoka
QC4?
Tano.
Ahsoka
Yeah.
Tano. Yeah, there we go. So she'll be there. James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars, and Matt Lanter, the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker. So we got double Anakin showing up at Celebration there. I'm not particularly surprised by any of those. If I were to be surprised, I think it's Matt Lanter, because he hasn't been at a lot of the celebrations, or at least the ones I've gone to. So good to see him there. But what do you think of this recent round of announcements?
Oh yeah, great Clone Wars reunion for sure. I'm actually sitting here looking at my other Matthew Wood autograph, which I actually got from my oldest son, Kyle, because he was really, really into the whole sound design thing when he was young. And so, yeah, this was at Celebration 2012
Wow.
is where I
Okay.
got that one. So I did get to meet him there, but I wonder if they will have a double photo op with double Anakin, like a photo op with that would be
That,
fun.
yeah, I could see that.
I might have to
That'd be
do that.
interesting. Yeah, I was gonna ask you. It occurs to me, like, of this batch of people, the only one I've met is James Arnold Taylor. I have not met Ahmed Best, Matthew Wood, Ashley Eckstein, or Matt Lanter on that one.
Mhm.
The previous bout, I have not met Hayden Christensen or Michelle Ang, but I met Ian, Anthony, and D on this one. So I'm trying to decide. I usually try and do a handful of the meets there. I usually do autographs as opposed to photo ops on there. And, look, Hayden Christensen's going to be the most expensive one out of this
Oh
batch
yeah, no doubt.
by a landslide. And after that, I'm trying to decide who I want to meet most. And at the moment, it might be a toss up between Ahmed Best and Ashley Eckstein
Mhm.
on this, because, yeah, I don't know. I've had so many opportunities to meet Ashley, and they always don't work out. So I kind of like to make that one happen. But I don't know. What are you thinking for these? If there was one you had to pick out that, well, it doesn't have to be someone you haven't met, but you want to go meet at Celebration next year, which would it be?
Well, I probably would pick Matt Lanter and Ahmed Best because,
Mhm.
out of all of those are about the only two that I haven't met. Although I haven't met D. Bradley Baker or Michelle Ang either. That would be a fun, like, team up kind of, photo op too. Or I wonder if like if you got both of their
Yeah,
signatures on
I
a.
would not be surprised at all if that one happens.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. But I have had the wonderful opportunity to meet everyone else on the list. So
yeah.
that's yeah, which is
Well,
crazy to think about.
yeah, I know. From my experience, James Arnold Taylor, I've met him twice, at least
He's
twice,
amazing.
and he's
Yeah.
amazing. He really takes his time with his fans and makes sure everyone feels welcome and is wonderful. Ian McDermott, I know you and I have had varying experiences when it comes to meeting him. Mine went really
Yeah.
well, and I know you're not so much. Anthony Daniels, I had a fantastic time talking to him here at Dallas Fan Expo years ago. I got to him like first thing in the morning, one morning to the convention, and we talked for 10, 15 minutes about Star Wars in concert. And then he put on a great show, a presentation later that day.
Mhm.
D. Bradley Baker, my experience meeting him I met him twice. The one I appreciated the most was at Star Celebration Anaheim in 2022. And this was when we were getting ready for, I want to say, was it season 2 of the Bad Batch? I can't remember exactly. Yeah, season 2.
Oh, I
And
remember this story. Yeah.
yeah, and for those of you who heard it before, thank you for indulging me as I tell it again. But we had our time to go meet him. We got in line, and it ended up being well over an hour and a half late because Lucasfilm and the convention pulled him to do other interviews and an appearance on the live stage, whatever. But when he got back, the first thing he did was he got to a stage, he apologized to everyone for being late and just says like, hey, it's been a long day. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. And then when we got up there, I mean, we weren't very far back in his line. He went through all of his voices talking to us and signing everything, and he made it up to the people that had been waiting for him. And, he didn't have to do that. It wasn't his fault that, he was late for his signing, but he took it upon himself to be gracious with his fans. And I always really, really appreciated that.
Oh yeah, from what I've heard, he's amazing. So I really hope that they're going to announce Sam Witwer. I know you've met Sam and you've had a really great
Yeah.
experience with him. So, I hope that he's going to be there, and I would love to see Vanessa again, even if it's just to say hi.
Oh, I
She's
feel
just
like,
amazing.
not to interrupt you, but I will not be surprised if there's not more Star Wars actors at this celebration than any previous celebration before, because we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Star
Mhm.
Wars. And there's not been a celebration since Maul Shadowlord came out, and we're expecting the next season, maybe next year, of it.
Mhm.
So I would
For
not be
sure.
surprised at all if Whitwer was there. Vanessa Marshall always seems to show up at these things, and she's also a fantastic meet if you get the chance. I know her. We've had long conversations with her. She's been on our show a couple times in our previous podcast before. Always really super gracious with their fans. So I would not be surprised at all if she was there. I hope they get Tia Sakar and Taylor Gray. I hope they get the cast of Ahsoka, since we're going to be getting season 2 of that.
Mhm.
And then bring back whatever's left of the cast of the original trilogy.
Oh
Since
yeah.
we're celebrating 50 years, but I hope they get as many of them there to celebrate this milestone moment as possible.
Yeah, me too. And even bring in some of the video game actors like Cameron Monaghan, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Cal Kestis, that would be great.
Well,
Would
that their
love to
game's in
meet.
development, so
Oh, yeah,
that's I think that's highly
and
likely that he'll be there.
mhm, and Jeremy Allen White, you
Yeah,
know, give
yeah.
me some Rada.
Well, right. There's going to be opportunities now. I mean, we've got Starfighter coming out, and it'll be out just basically a month and a half after Celebration. So we know there's going to be a Starfighter panel. So a number of those actors are going to be there. So whether they're
I
available
need to
for
meet Ryan Gosling.
autographs or pictures or whatever, remains to be seen. So
Yeah, yeah, I really hope Ryan Gosling is gonna be there. That would be fantastic. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah. Well, if he
Wow.
went to Japan, I suspect he could make it here to LA. So
Yeah, there you go.
all right. Well then, yeah. Unfortunately, that trailer still hasn't dropped. I've been checking every minute.
Still waiting.
Okay. Well, okay. Well then, thank you all for joining us for the episode of Podcast Stardust. We were excited. We're hoping to discuss that trailer, but hey, next week. But thanks for hanging around for this week's look at Star Wars news and our discussion of Legends. I don't know. See, we seem to be drifting into that a lot more lately, and I'm not going to apologize for that because it's kind of fun. But we hope
Mhm.
you've enjoyed the discussion, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcatcher. And once you're there, rate, review, subscribe, do all those type of things. That really helps get the show noticed by others. If you want to find more episodes of the show beyond what's going to be beyond what's likely to be available on your podcast of choice, head over to richesapp.com, which is the home of Podcast Stardust and a bunch of other great shows that are on the network. And Jay, you want to go ahead and remind everybody what our social media contacts are and where else we can be found online?
Yeah, so it's the easiest place to find us is on Instagram. We're also on Facebook at Podcast Stardust. And you can also check out all of our Pinterest boards. We have tons of really great ideas for everything Star Wars from around the web. And then we also have our 2 YouTube outlets. So we have the regular YouTube as well as YouTube Music. So please head over to both of those, like, subscribe, share those out. No video, just audio, but you can still catch all the shows over there. And you can also catch us on all of the other possible places where you can download podcasts, including Spotify, Audible, and the like. And then you can also hit us up on our email if you would like to drop us a line. And that address is podcaststardust@gmail.com. And then if you'd like to snag a piece of Podcast Stardust swag, we do have a TeePublic store. The link to that is in our show notes, and you can pick from one of 7 different show logo designs and slap that on all kinds of things, from t-shirts and sweatshirts to coffee mugs, even socks and athletic wear and ball caps and all kinds of fun things. So once again, you can hit that up in our show notes.
All right. What is the latest in cosplay?
Well, you can always catch me on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay, and I'm over there as Ahsoka from seasons 3 through 5 of the Clone Wars, as well as my 2 different versions of Hera, my fourth sister, original concept Mandalorian, and the like. And you never know what you're going to find. So once again, that's at j.snipscosplay.
All right. Upcoming on the show on Monday, we are continuing our Clone Wars rewatch with a discussion of episode 2 from season 4. And then on Wednesday, we are going to get into some comics discussion. And this is fun. Make sure you show up for this one. We're going to be discussing Legacy of Vader issues 1 through 6. So the first half of that limited series. All right. Thanks for listening to episode 1053 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the 4th if you're celebrating. And until next time, may the Force be with you.